when you're talking about trying to get into shape, I feel like it's a completely different scenario. So when you're in bodybuilding, it really comes down to
I guess that makes sense. Your ass isn't really on the line when you're just trying to get in shape.
Exactly. You're just trying to get in shape, then you turn around and go, okay, I want to be healthy. I want to live longer. I want to feel better. Now you take a little bit more care of your, trying to be able to be on this planet a little bit longer. You're trying to spend time with your family.
Yeah. Sleep more, things like that.
Sleep more, sleep better. Yeah. It really, like when I sit down and I'm talking to a person about weight loss, I'm talking about how they can get their inflammation down from going on a certain diet and getting the sugars out and getting the inflammation down so that they can train again. Because sometimes, just simple cardio is banging up their knees because they have too much inflammation from hitting too many processed carbs and doing too many sugars. And the inflammation kicks up. Now they can't do anything, or it's exacerbating their sleep apnea. And so it's not just the weight or the aesthetic thing. So it's like it's a two-pronged approach. When you're talking about bodybuilding, what you're trying to do is you're trying to actually, and again, I always use cars as reference points because that's my hobby. I like to race cars. And but when you turn around and you can turn around and put more and more modifications onto a car to be able to make it win races. But if you're trying to get out there and want to just make sure that you have a daily driver that can get you from point A to point B that can last you the next 200,000 miles, that's something a little bit different because you're trying to do that for overall health. And so it's
a totally different mentality.
Exactly, because then when you start to get to the extremes, health is not always a concern. It's just the aesthetic or the performance aspect of it.
Right.
So it's not the healthiest thing to be 300 pounds off season.
Right.
Even though your body fat's 12%. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to what your end goal is.
Some people are really confused by insulin. You have. And it starts these huge fights online all the time. And then some people are like, wait, I think bodybuilders sometimes use it to get bigger. Why would a bodybuilder utilize something like insulin? What's it doing for them?
Oh, it's a very anabolic hormone, but it's one of those things that I'm not a huge believer in that. And believe it or not, everybody probably thinks I am. And I know because they see bodybuilders that I work with that have a very 3D look, and they think, oh, insulin. And insulin has got so many negative drawbacks to it. But when you're running insulin, people think, hey, listen, it's such an anabolic compound that you must be doing it to be able to bodybuild. And they don't realize so many bodybuilders don't use it. It's just that it's been in these kind of like this taboo mythic type of like, hey,
right.
This is what it is, and it's so anabolic and it's so needed, and it's not. It's what's needed is you need to get your body to be able to utilize its own insulin at such a high efficiency. Therefore, your body will take what it needs, and then it'll downregulate the rest. But when you're sitting there trying to take extra insulin, your body will do the side effects that go along with it, with possible death, are so
insane.
high risk. And that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of these guys are passing away, because if you take an extra cc of testosterone, chances are nothing's going to happen. You're going to,
get a little bigger.
You get a little bit bigger, or you might get some gyno, or your blood pressure will go up.
Get a boner.
Something along those lines. You'll get a little bit of that. But if you take a little extra insulin and you don't do some carbs in time, you're dead. You're dead. And a lot of people, it's become such a mythical thing. People think that, oh my God, this is what the secret is. And they don't understand that all of the drawbacks that go along with it, besides the fact that you could kill yourself in minutes, that you end up having all of the different side effects. You get, distension, you get this, you get that, the list goes on. And then also, after the first time you use it, then it downregulates because now all your insulin receptors downregulate. So then you have to take more. Then the risks become exponentially worse. So the key is to try to get the effects of it through your own efficiency of your own insulin, and again, creating more insulin sensitivity.
Would you say some of the key, some of the same keys that you mentioned for insulin would be the same for any performance enhancing drug? Really trying to just elicit your body's own. The more that you can tap into what your body can naturally do, probably the better off you're going to be.
Absolutely. I think that what happens is you want to be able to utilize as much of what your natural hormones as possible, and then when you know that it comes to a complete halt. Let's say your testosterone production just isn't working. let's say you're 45 years old and you're no longer being able to produce more than a couple 100 milligrams of, natural tests in terms of just, let's say, your natural supposed to be on a blood test above 400. 400 to 800 is the optimum range, and your body's at 200 nanograms per deciliter. What happens is now you have to make a decision. Okay, you want to try to maximize your testosterone. What I do is I say, hey, client A, what are you doing? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you able to, do you have issues with your sleep? Whether it's not enough, whether it's sleep apnea, because all of these things can actually contribute to having low test. And then you turn around and go, hey, how's your diet? Oh, my diet's great. I eat these bars that are really good for you that have tons of soy protein in them, and I don't know why I've got bitch tits, And it's like, there you go, Stephen. And so you go through the process of elimination. You go through a process of seeing what a person's program looks like, how their rest patterns are, how their training programs are, all of those things. Are you working out? Because those things can increase test. But if your testosterone still doesn't go up, or it's so low, then you have to go into hormone replacement therapy. Then you also have to say, okay, great, this didn't work. I tried this, and this. Now we have to turn around and we have to replace. And that's when, obviously, you go in, get a prescription, get some blood work done. The doctor prescribes you a CCA test a week, and you go from there. Or a cream or a gel or whatever that they want to prescribe for you. But the key is to try to maximize what you have, whether it's your own natural testosterone, whether it's your own natural insulin, whatever it is. You're trying to maximize that first. That's always trying to be the primary goal.
Shifting gears a little bit. In America, obesity is one of the things that hits us the hardest. There's just so much food out there that's convenient, that tastes amazing. What do you think? What do you think some weapons that we can grab a hold of to fight against obesity? What are some things that people can do to try to get maybe steer the ship back the other direction if it's even possible?
I think convenience is one. I mean, the thing is, everything is about making sure that whatever you decide to do, that it's convenient for you to do. In regards to diet, it would be meal prep, right? Get with a meal prep. There's so many meal prep companies now. There's ones that will deliver a couple times a week. There's ones that you can go pick up daily. They have lockers where you can go to supplement stores and pick them up. Meal prep is really important because it helps provide convenience. Because a lot of people switch to the alternative of not having clean food because fast food is so abundant.
Right.
So it's a lot easier to run through a Burger King or a McDonald's drive-thru than it is to have grilled chicken breast, salad, and or a lean steak and some vegetables. And so what ends up happening is when you have the ability to invest in yourself a little bit, and it might cost a little bit more money because good food costs a lot more money than processed food, especially when you realize what they do to try to make it so cheap. It really makes a huge difference because now you have the ability to have something that's more convenient. And you can either pick that up, you can have it delivered, whatnot. Now all of a sudden, you don't have to go through it, and not eat for 5 or 6 hours, and then now you have to make a bad choice because you're starving. So that's the first thing. The first thing is to make sure that you're trying to, create more organization throughout the day to be able to make better decisions.
Maybe even don't even think about a diet necessarily.
No,
just get better food around you.
That's it. If you start there, that's going to start there. It really starts there. If you get that, then you're going to turn around and be like, okay, now let's make a plan where I can make 30 minutes, 40 minutes a day to be able to do some kind of exercise, whether it's get up, do fasted cardio, get up, train, or train after work, middle of work, whatever it is. I tend to have my athletes do a lot of fasted cardio because I believe in fasted cardio. I like the blood sugar nice and low so that when you go in, your body's going to tend to burn more body fat. So right when they get up in the morning, they roll out of bed. They might either take something, whether it's even at the simplest form, maybe some black coffee or whatnot, roll up into.
Is that why we see The Rock doing that shit all the time?
Well, you know what? The Rock's been doing shit like that forever.
Yeah.
And he, that's him. But he's a different animal, man, because he's an actor, entrepreneur, businessman, everything, professional bodybuilder. I mean, the guy does it all.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I joke about it on my IG and stuff, and And he
I
literally
see you giving him shit on there sometimes.
I do, because I just go, dude, he makes me feel lazy as fuck. And I'm traveling all around the
He
world.
makes everybody feel lazy. Yeah.
And
He's doing a good job of that.
yeah, he's really good at that. He's such an asshole. But at the end of the day, I mean, it really, you know, he's the kind of guy that if he has to train at 4 o'clock in the morning and get up, he'll do it. If he has to train at 4 o'clock in the morning because he hasn't slept yet, he'll do it, because he uses that as therapy, right? He talks about it all the time. He talks about it on social. He talks about it out there in interviews. And it's one of those things that he has a completely different mentality, because the bodybuilders that I train have a mentality of, hey, I have to win this show, and I'm going to start sticking the fact that we're getting more serious.
Wow, you're a lot shorter than him.
Well, he's standing on a box.
Oh, okay,
He's
never mind.
standing on a box.
Take it back.
He is
like
really
6'5" or something.
Yeah, he's
shit,
6'5", and I'm like 5'6", and so on a good day. So what? But he's just, the guy is incredible, because he's so motivating to everybody. I mean, I don't care if you're, you know, you see him and Kevin Hart banter back and forth, or you see him with you know, just people. It's motivating to people that literally will have like 5 followers, and he'll respond to them. And he is just, when you see that, it sets as an example.
How about what he did to that for that girl that wanted to go to the prom with him? Did
yeah,
you see that?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah. That the school thing.
Yeah,
and
over the loudspeaker and everything. It was crazy.
And it's just and just watching that is really motivating, because what it does is it gives you a sense of, hey, look, you don't get to a level where you're too good to do those type of things, and that's what really makes a huge difference.